Hello! My name is Melinda. Welcome back to my knitting podcast. This episode is just going to be a hello. It's been 7 months since I last podcast, maybe more, 8 months, something like that. So we'll catch up a little bit on everything I've been knitting on since then. Have a little bit of a life update, of course, but really just want to get back into the game. So here we are. It's gonna be a little messy. We've got 2 sleeping babies, 1 baby playing on the floor, so you'll probably hear some noises from him, but that is just the state of life that I'm in. So hopefully you're here to be along for the ride of this chaotic, beautiful life that I'm currently living. So yes, I guess just a note, last I left you, I found out that I was pregnant with twins. It was a bit of a challenging pregnancy. Not gonna go into too many details, but I do have 2 beautiful little baby boys that are now 2.5 months old, coming up on 3 months, and still have our older child who is now gonna be 2 in November. So pretty bonkers. Like I said, beautiful chaos in our household at the moment, but loving every minute of it. Okay, enough on that. Let's get to the knitting. So the game plan for today is to just kind of get back into it, rip off the band-aid. It's gonna be messy, it's gonna be interrupted, I'm sure, but I just kind of want to catch up, show you everything that I've knit since last time or finished since last time, and kind of hit the reset button so we can hopefully podcast more frequently going forward. All right, so I guess we'll start with what I'm wearing. This did make an appearance on the podcast as a whip, but of course I have completed it since then. This is my moonset pullover by Ozetta. I don't remember what state it was in when you saw it last time, but I knit this up in a strand of merino cashmere nylon held with a strand of Surrey silk from Explore Knits and Fibers. It's in their waffle cone colorway from their ice cream social collection that came out last summer. And story of this sweater is I initially bought the yarn in planning to make a lento with it. So I had 2 skeins of fingering and 2 skeins of Surrey. Of course, Surrey doesn't have as much yardage as fingering in the 50-gram skein, or as mohair 50-gram skein, whatever. So I was playing a little bit of yarn chicken when I was making this, and I kind of was going into it saying, I'll just make whatever I get, it'll be cropped, but if I was gonna go with the amount of yarn that I had, it would have been like this short, so not really a wearable garment. And so I went on the hunt to see if I could find another skein of Surrey, because since it was a pre-order collection, it's not something you could just buy another skein of off the website or anything. So I went on Ravelry to look at everyone's stashes to see if anyone had it in their stash listed. Luckily, I found somebody who was willing to sell some of theirs. We were gonna set up a trade, but she was like, nah, I just need to get rid of some yarn, that's fine. So I ended up just buying it off of her. She mailed it over and I was able to finish this garment. So yes, like I said, moonset pullover. It's a drop shoulder design that has this kind of V-neck with the overlapped crisscross here. Modifications that I made, it is knit in just a single strand of DK, but I got gauge with my Surrey and fingering held together. The other thing I modified was, since I had less yarn, I did make the sleeves. I made the sleeves a little bit smaller, but still didn't do any decreases. And then for the bind offs, they just have an I-cord bind off in the pattern, but I decided to do ribbing on the hems, or on the cuffs and on the hem, which I do enjoy. So that is that. It is a very lovely garment. I haven't gotten to wear it because by the time I finished, it didn't really work with the bump, and so I haven't worn it in the winter, and now it's summer, and so come fall I'll be able to wear this again, so looking forward to that. All right, let's get the next one. Okay, next garment that I finished. Also, these are approximate order of garments, approximate order that I finished these garments. Also, I don't really use Ravelry, but really, I mean, only for test knits when it's required. And I also don't really take notes. So this is relying on my memory, which I also don't have a great memory. So details might be minimal for many of these, but if you're really wondering about anything specific, I can look into it more. So yes, this is the next garment that I finished. This is the Ginger Zip by Joan Ho, who is, I think, Knitwear by Joan on Instagram. But this is a part of the collection that she has a book coming out, a cable pattern book that I think is coming out this fall. I want to say available for pre-order. I think it comes out in September. Again, not the best memory. Yes. This is gonna be an adventure. Okay, so this is the Ginger Zip. It's a quarter zip cable sweater, knit bottom up. The body is knit bottom up. Uh-oh. Pause, please. Okay, so this is gonna be an adventure. Okay, did I already say that like 12 times? So body is knit bottom up, and then you pick up and knit the sleeves down. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, it has short rows on the sleeves, which make for a really nice fit. I actually didn't really know if it was gonna fit well, because by the time I finished this object, my bump was quite large, and so it only went like halfway down my belly, which was kind of funny. So I actually luckily had my mom in town who was able to take some finished object photos for me, or pose for the finished object photos, which worked out quite well because I would not have done the garment justice at the time. But yes, I again wasn't able to wear this really yet, so we'll see what happens in the fall. Yarn, I knit this in the recommended yarn, which was Wool of the Andes worsted from Knitpicks in the camel heather colorway. And yes, so it's just got the cable design here. It also has that cable design down the back as well in the center, and then everything else is ribbed. So it is super cozy, and we'll see how it wears come fall and winter this year. Okay, next. Okay, next finished object. This is the Cedar Point sweater by Espace Tricot. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. This one was my sad, the last two garments that I finished don't fit, so let's make something super oversized that I can still wear. However, I would not call this garment a success, for a couple different reasons. Number one, I was working with, the yarn that I used is Harrisville Highland. That's their woolen spun worsted weight yarn, which big fan of the yarn, but this just was not a very good execution of the pattern. And you okay, buddy? Okay, so number one, the 1x1 color work, I didn't do a very good job. I did go up a needle size, which I think is recommended in the pattern, but I probably could have gone up 2 and just had looser floats. I think just my tension in like the main body versus my tension on the color work, like you can see this is stretched as far as it can go. So it's very tight, especially because this just falls, like my armpit is here, and so it's like below my arm, and it has a really deep yoke, which is just kind of the style, which I don't dislike, but it's just not particularly wearable with how tight this portion is. I think it would be fine if my color work was not so tight, but you can see that there's like a bulge when I transition from color work, or from the stockinette back to the color work, especially on the sleeves. So I haven't ever actually worn this, so I can't really say if it does wear well or not. I can try giving it another block, seeing if I can stretch this out a little more, but if you can see, when you stretch it out, then the other color starts popping through and it just doesn't look clean. So I'm kind of thinking that this might need to be frogged. I can't say that I'm ever actually gonna wear it, so this could have been a fail. I also did make a handful of modifications to the pattern. Like, I tried fewer decrease rounds because my row gauge was way off compared with the pattern. I didn't want like the super deep yoke, but it ended up really deep anyway. So basically just not really a success, not what I was going for. I can't say that I'll pull this out to wear it compared to any of my other garments. Also, I promise he's not upset. He's just making noises. Okay, he might be getting upset. Buddy. Oh, what a mess. It's okay. So yes, it is a question mark whether this garment will survive. All right, let's just go to the next one. Okay, so this is another version of the white eyelet sweater that I had shown ages ago, which is a design that I've been working on. I ordered from Explore Knits and Fibers Leave No Trace collection, and it is like basically you don't know exactly what you're getting. You can put notes in the order to say like, hey, I like dark and moody and neutrals, and so I did put in there that I prefer like more muted colors and neutrals or whatever, but I did get this pink, which is not really something that fits in with the rest of my wardrobe. I don't hate the color, but it's the gamble that you take when you order from those kind of things and don't pick out exactly what you want. So not something I do very often, but I was hopeful for this one. Anyway, it is what it is. So, and many of you are probably like, wow, she knit in a color, amazing. Okay, so this is the pattern that I've been working on. I basically discovered that I took really poor notes when I knit my initial sample in the Juniper Moon Farms Merino Patagonia yarn. And so I wanted to make a second sample just to kind of hash out some of the details of that initial garment. And I also did make a couple of modifications to it, which I think I'll have to revert back to the initial. Basically, the other sleeves are a lot larger than these, which I prefer to this one's, and I did additional sleeve decreases. The other sleeves are a lot bigger than these ones, which I do still like this garment, but I just prefer the elements of the other one a little bit more. But I was able to sort out all the things that I hadn't figured out in the first sample, so we'll see how that goes. Yes, but this has the eyelets around the neckline. It's kind of like a soft V neck, and then eyelets on the hem before the ribbing, and then no eyelets on the sleeves, just go straight into the ribbing. It is a drop shoulder design, which I think is my favorite construction. Not my favorite to knit because purling, but I do appreciate the fit of the drop shoulders the most, I think. So, what else? Oh, yes, this is the natural DK. So it's Explore Knits non-superwash base, which is really, really nice. Super soft, particularly for non-superwash yarn, and still does have a pretty vibrant color. So there you go. But yes, so I've been working on this pattern. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to write it up and get a call for testers in the near future, but really, I'm not setting any timelines for myself at this season of my life. So yes, this is my next finished garment, a design that I've been working on, knit up and Explore Knits and Fibers, question mark colorway from the Leave No Trace collection in the natural DK. On to the next. Okay, this one is not going to be particularly exciting to show, but I finished it, so I'm going to show it. This is the Tulsa Tee by Rebecca Clow from the Crayabea. I actually don't know if it's Clow or Clow, C-L-O-W. Rebecca, how do you pronounce your last name? I've heard a lot of people pronounce it different ways. So yes, this is basically just a Raglan t-shirt. The idea behind the pattern is that you make modifications to kind of make it special, but it's just the blank canvas for you to, oh, happy noises. So it's just kind of the blank canvas for you to show off and play with and whatever else. So Per usual, I just kept it simple. This is, I don't even know if you can see, but it's just a completely black cotton that I had in stash from years ago. It's Weir Knitters, the cotton, just in the black colorway. It's actually a worsted weight yarn. The pattern calls for DK, but it's knit at a fairly loose gauge, so this worked out really well. The mods that I made, I did a tubular cast on, and I knit the neckline a little bit longer, and then I didn't really pay attention to sleeve lengths or body lengths. I just used up all the yarn, flash my belly, used up all the yarn that I had on this, but actually I found another ball. So I have another ball that I don't know what to do with now, but I used up every scrap I could to make this one, or that I thought that I had, but now I have an extra ball, but that's fine. I probably wouldn't have made it longer or the sleeves longer or anything. But yes, just a basic t-shirt, cotton 100%. I've worn this a handful of times and it's pretty comfy. Definitely is stretching out, so I think it could use with some elastic in the collar, or maybe crochet reinforcement around the neckline, just so that it doesn't continue to drag, because 100% worsted weight cotton is pretty heavy of a fiber, is a pretty heavy fiber. But yes, otherwise I do enjoy this garment. I think that's about it. Next. Okay, this is the different style than everything else. It fits tightly. Mini mock neck tank by Jessie Mae Designs. I knit this up in, I did talk about the yarn a lot with the other one. Sorry, I was reflecting on whether I talked about my yarn with my Tulsa tea. I knit this up in autumn and indigo stash yarn that I had. It was in a sport weight yarn. I don't remember the colorway. Pause. Okay, we got some hiccups. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, but I did goodness gracious. Okay, the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. I did knit it up in sport weight, but I think it worked out pretty well, and I still got gauge. I am a big fan of this silhouette. I actually have a few ready to wear garments that are in this exact like mock neck with the same shape, same silhouette, everything. So I was pretty excited about this pattern. I think I made the neckline a little bit longer, and then I also just used up all the yarn I had, made it as long as possible. I'm not really a crop top wearer. Not really, I am not a crop top wearer. So it still does go, it's just above my belly button, but if I have some high-waisted things, it'll work out. So I'm happy with this garment. Also, I'm kind of rushing through because I think we're getting a little impatient down there, but that's what we got. Okay, a couple more items. We're gonna keep rolling. Okay, next up is the Brooklyn Raglan Light by Tori Knits NYC, something along those lines. This was a test knit that I signed up for. She had, goodness gracious, I'm trying to go fast and it's making me go slower because I have to stop and start over because my words are not coming out well. This is a test knit, was a test knit. She has her Brooklyn Raglan pattern, which worsted or DK, I'm not sure, but I guess people requested a fingering weight version, so I signed up to test that this summer. Okay, pause. Okay, not 100% sure where we were. We still have the hiccups. We're just giggling on the floor. Not giggling. He doesn't do that yet, really. Poor hiccups. Okay, let's just power through. Okay, so I promise he's okay. I don't want to seem neglectful toward my child. Okay, maybe. Hold on. I'm not sure where I was. We'll just kind of start over. So this is the Brooklyn Raglan Light from Tori Knits NYC, Tori U. She released, I don't know if it's DK or worsted, but the Brooklyn Raglan pattern was her initial pattern, and then she also graded it for fingering weight, or designed it for fingering weight. This pattern comes in either long sleeve or a short sleeve version. Obviously I knit the long sleeve version, and I did this for a test knit for her. I don't know what I was thinking, signing up for a fingering weight full sleeve garment in the summer. Anyway. Okay. This is hard. I'm not used to doing this anymore. Okay. So, tugging at the camera. It is a learned skill. And I've forgotten how to do it. So yes, the concept of this garment is that the body is stockinette. It also has this curved hem, which you can kind of see. And then the sleeves are knit up in a texture pattern. I knit my sample up in Harrisville, Shetland, which is the fingering sport weight yarn in the camel colorway. Okay, be right back. Goodness, Harrisville, Shetland, camel colorway. That's their fingering / sport weight yarn. I knit this to pattern minus the fact that my row gauge was different, so I ended up having to do the decreases more frequently, but I still have the same sleeve length and stitch count for the cuff as is called for in the pattern. This pattern is available now for purchase. I think that's all I have to say. Okay, one more, we're almost done. Okay, last finished garment. This is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Mae Designs. I knit it up in holst super soft yarn held double in the donkey colorway, which is just pretty nice heathery brown. What else? We're okay. It's fine. Rip off the band-aid. That's just what we gotta do. I did make a few modifications to this pattern. I also started this ages and ages ago. I think this actually has seen a minute on the podcast, maybe even like my first episode, which is almost a year ago. Maybe it has been a year. Time is wild. But this, oh yes, was a languishing whip that I picked back up. All I had to do was knit the sleeves. I was like, hey, let's get this done. My husband recently bought the Marie Kondo book. We're a little bit late to that party, but I've been thinking about all of the whips that are just sitting, not getting touched. So I've been trying to decide which ones I want to finish, which ones are gonna end up getting frogged. But this was one that I decided to finish. So yes, knit up the sleeves on this. I knit the sleeves to pattern, I'm pretty sure. The neckline calls for a tubular cast on, but at the time that I cast this on, I just did, I think it's German twisted based on the way it looks. And then for the raglan increases, I actually did make one rights and lefts instead of the lifted increases that are called for in the pattern. Dang it, okay. One more pause. Okay. I promise he's been fed and diaper is good, so we're just gonna have a guest star who wants some snuggles for the final few minutes of this episode. Okay, so modifications. I did different increases, different cast on. For the body length, this is a little bit more cropped than I would prefer it now. I think I did, I was happy with it when I had cast it off like a year ago, cast the body off, but now I wish it was a couple inches longer. I do have additional yarn, so I don't want to undo it yet though. I kind of want to see if it's actually wearable or not, and then we'll go for modifications if necessary. I'll just rip back or chop the bind off or see what we want to do, because I did do a tubular bind off for the hem. But yes, I'm excited for the fall to be able to wear this. Okay, I think we're gonna call it. I'm gonna go snuggle some babies. And yes, okay. A bit of a mess, but that's okay. We're getting back into it. I hope you all are having a wonderful time. Let me know if you're still around. I would love to chat with some of you in the comments. And I'm hoping to be back with the podcast. I have many whips and other things to talk about as well. So I hope to be back soon. I will see you all in the next one.